Hello everyone, back tuning into today's first video, doing JMA Friday for today's first video. So as always on a Friday, we're going to have your month ahead look ahead with the Japanese and CFS V2. This will just about get us to the very beginning of November, can you believe? Also this afternoon, we're going to have a detailed look at weather next week to 10 days with the GFS, the ECM and the GM shorter range model. So your week to 10 day video update will be with you later on this afternoon. And we'll also be giving a shout out to the latest donors and patrons for Gazwebbies. So that will be coming up this afternoon. But kicking it all off for this Friday is JMA Friday. So let's get on with your month ahead look ahead. We're going to begin by having a look at the Japanese JMA model. So these are the 500 millibar heights. They're broken down into week periods. The first week period will take us from the 5th through to the 12th of October. We're looking at the pole view down first of all. So this is the North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere up here. Mid-latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere are around there. Blue is extrapolating to low pressure, yellow, orange and red extrapolating to high pressure. So we find that for the weekend we've got a ridge of above average heights over and to the east of the UK. With quite a deep area of below average heights in the middle of the Atlantic. So the Atlantic is getting pretty buoyant there. That's a deep trough that's through the Atlantic, but the ridge is just about warding it off that we've got here to the east of the British Isles. And so, whilst there is influence from the low pressure, and particularly to the north and west, you'd probably expect some cloud and rain. For much of England and Wales, actually, the high pressure is the dominating factor and will bring a lot of dry and also warm weather. The thing with this is that the air is going to be warm, moving up from a southerly type direction. So warm and fairly dry in the southeast, warm but more unsettled in the north and west to start us off. Then we're going through to week 2. This one is the 12th through to the 19th of October. And if anything, this ridge is strengthening again. So we've got the below average heights here in the middle of the Atlantic. They're being pushed further away from us during week 2, with the above average heights strengthening over the UK. And that's quite a big ridge there that's extending from the Atlantic up to Scandinavia. So this is almost like going back to the pattern we was in the summer. This is kind of like the sort of thing we saw a lot of through particularly May, June and July. We had a lot of this sort of weather pattern with high pressure bridging from the Atlantic through the UK, going up to Scandinavia, low pressure out in the middle of the Atlantic. So pretty dry and warm with that. The winds are coming in again from a southerly southwesterly direction, so there's no problems with temperature. The only thing that might happen, because it's October rather than middle of summer, is that if nights are clear, the heat will radiate away quite quickly. It could get fairly chilly, maybe with ground frost, and maybe mist and fog patches as well. You can't rule that out in October. But overall, that is a fairly warm and settled pattern that we're seeing there for week 2. Then we go through to weeks 3 and 4. This is the 19th of October to the 2nd of November, seeing signs of a change with below average heights then strengthening around Greenland and Iceland. Much more of a westerly type setup developing. The ridge is being pushed down towards Spain and Portugal. The jet stream is coming south as well. The jet stream is coming right through the country and into Europe, rather like that. And so we go into the second half of October and we're in a much more unsettled scenario there. Although the ridge isn't too far away from the southwest, so we're not talking about sort of flooding rains to the south, but it is more unsettled. We're bringing the jet stream southwards. We're moving the high pressure down to Spain and Portugal. We're strengthening low pressure to the north and west of the British Isles. They're just basically turning into a westerly type setup. So signs that the jet stream is invigorating there. We're losing the high pressure, turning more unsettled, probably turning cooler as well. Temperatures would lower with that compared to what we have through the first half of October. Right, so let's have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude view in terms of those temperature and precipitation anomalies. So this is the equator of the Earth just there. We've got the northern hemisphere on the northern side of the equator just there. Southern hemisphere is on the southern side of the equator, of course. We've got Canada, North America over here, just so you know where everybody is. Europe is over there, and then we've got sort of Russia over here, and then Asia is kind of like down there. So just so you know where everyone is. And most importantly, we've got the North Atlantic just there, and the British Isles is in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. Poles are off the map, so we just saw the North Pole view down, but the North Pole is on, whoops, that's got a bit wrong. So the North Pole on this chart is up here. Don't need to see the North Pole again because we just had a look at the pole view down. And the South Pole, of course, would be kind of like down there. Right, so that's your geography lesson for this Friday afternoon. Let's have a look then at tropical, at the temperature and precipitation anomalies. So for week 1, a reminder of that, we've got the 500 millibar heights placing the ridge over into the eastern British Isles with deep trough, very deep trough, out in the Atlantic, but jet streams going off up there somewhere. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly then. So actually it isn't as high as I might have expected with that sort of setup. Now you see most parts of Central Europe are actually coming out warmer than average. But for the UK, well, Scotland and Northern Ireland is a little bit cooler than average in the week ahead. England and Wales, not all that far from average. I've got a feeling it'll be a little bit warmer than that suggests. I think that's a little bit pessimistic, to be honest, given the pattern and the setup that we're seeing here. And precipitation anomalies are above average as well. So actually, you take the model at face value, it's a fairly cool and wet week coming up. But I do think that's a little bit over the top, especially so, excuse me, especially so for England and Wales. I think that's a little bit over the top for England and Wales. I don't think it'll be as cool or as wet as that. But for Scotland and Northern Ireland, it probably will be a cooler and wetter than average week coming up. Then we go through to week 2, where we have this area of above average heights, high pressure centred very close to the UK. Low pressure is actually being moved out further away from us, and the jet stream is off up there somewhere. That's moving further away from us as well. Temperature anomalies in this one are going warmer than average. So this is a warmer week here from the 12th to the 19th of October. England and Wales going quite significantly above average, over a degree above average. Even Scotland and Northern Ireland see the temperatures lifting up as well. So that's a warmer week there for the second week of the month. And then we go through or sort of second week into the third week of the month. And then we go through to the precipitation anomalies, and they're still a little bit above average, which is a bit odd given it's showing above average heights taking over the pattern. So again, I'm not sure how that quite stacks up with 500 millibar height anomaly. Quite a strange run from the JMA this week. I do think temperatures will be lifting up there based on 500 millibar heights, but I would expect most of the rain to be pushed away to the very far north and west, and for there to be quite a lot of dry weather, so I'm not sure how that one really comes off. Then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, which is the 19th of October to the 2nd of November, with above average heights down to our south, below average heights strengthening to the north, the jet stream seemingly coming southwards as well, probably turning more unsettled. Temperature anomalies are lowering as this westerly flow sets up. We go cooler than average, and that probably does make sense, actually. I think temperatures probably drop away through that period. Now, this again, not really matching up with what I'd expect to see, because this one, yes, it does go a bit wetter than average Scotland and Northern Ireland, but for England and Wales, it's actually drier than average. And to me, it looks to me as though week 2 should be the drier week of all of this for all parts of the country. And then weeks 3 and 4 probably turn wetter than average, I would have thought. But remember, this is a 2-weekly anomaly, so it could be that it takes a while to get that jet stream down to the south. So it might be that week 3, for example, just limits the unsettled weather to Scotland and Northern Ireland, with England and Wales still hanging on to the high pressure influences. And it's on until week 4 that the jet stream finally moves southwards and would bring rain even down into the south. You never totally rule something like that out with a 2-weekly anomaly. But to be honest, it's a strange run from the JMA today. Not really in terms of its 500 millibar heights, which looks okay, But in terms of how the temperature, and particularly precipitation anomalies, are stacking up with those 500 millibar heights, quite an odd run there. So we go through to CFS V2 and see how that's comparing. So again, this is week 1, 500 millibar height anomaly. We're going from the 5th through to the 11th of October, with below average heights in the Atlantic out to northwest. Above average heights are over and to the east of the British Isles. Identical really to what the JMA is doing in this first week period. The jet stream heads off up there, and we bring up these quite warm southerly southeasterly winds. So lots of dry weather, you would have thought, with that, and pretty warm, especially so in the south and the southeast. Week 2 is looking like this. It's the 12th to the 18th of October. Above average heights extending from the Atlantic into central and then up to northern Europe, so very similar to the JMA. But for us, actually, this trough of below average heights in the Atlantic is just a little bit stronger, what the JMA is showing. So we do have more influence from the jet stream there. So just a little bit further south and east with that ridge in week 2 compared to the JMA. And so that would lead to, it wouldn't be as warm, and it would be a more unsettled week in week 2. Week 3 looks like this. It's the 19th to the 25th of October, with above average heights moving down to Spain and Portugal, below average heights settling into the north of Scotland. The jet stream is coming through the country like that. That's turning more unsettled. Outbreaks of rain from the north and west will be gradually sinking southwards into many parts of the country. And then finally we get to week 4, which is the 26th of October to the 1st day of November, with above average heights pulling out into the middle of the Atlantic, below average heights up still to the north. We send the jet stream on a more northwest-southeast alignment. Again, quite unsettled, particularly so for the north, and a bit colder as well with that. You'd be pulling the air down from Greenland and Iceland between the low pressure up here and the high pressure down there. So that's quite a lot cooler in week 4. Maybe even wintry showers, cool enough wintry showers for the northern parts of the country. Right, let's see how the temperatures are looking then. So week 1 temperature anomalies from the 5th to the 11th of October, warmer than average for England and Wales, close to average or a little bit cooler than average maybe for Scotland and for Northern Ireland too. Then we go through to week 2, which is the 12th through to the 18th of October, and all places going warmer than average. So this is a warm middle part of October that's being seen here. Many central parts of Europe also coming out quite warm in that week from the 12th to the 18th of October. Then week 3 shows a little bit of a cool down. This is from the 19th to the 25th of October. Northern and western parts of the country going a little bit cooler than average. England and Wales still just about holding on to warmer than average temperature anomalies, but it's a close run thing. Many parts of Europe, though, still coming out really quite warm. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 26th of October to 1st of November. Close to average, really, but I would have thought that would likely be a little bit cooler than that, given the alignment of the trough and the ridge. Basically would be sending the jet stream on a northwest-southeast trajectory. I would have thought that should be quite a cool end to October. And then we've got precipitation finally. So again, precipitation anomalies in the week ahead, the 5th to the 11th of October. A bit wetter than average in the north, a little bit drier than average down in the south. Now, week 2 is going quite substantially wetter than average. This is the 12th through to the 18th of October. So although it's warm, it's pretty wet as well. And that's because the high pressure is centred a bit further south. And that does tie in with the 500 millibar height anomaly that we saw there from CFS V2. It's the JMA, but it's further north with that area of high pressure. And so you would have thought the JMA should be drier in week 2. But actually, they're both going for a rather wet week there from the 12th to the 18th of October. So maybe warm and wet for the middle part of October. Week 3 is the 19th to the 25th of October. Still a little bit above average with precipitation for that week. And then week 4, precipitation anomalies are weakening away, so just saying close to average. Really, but of course, the further out we go with CFS, as usual, it is losing its signal quite a lot. So that's how it's looking, and it looks like October is a rather changeable month, rather similar to September in some ways. We're alternating the air masses. At times it's looking quite warm, at times I think we might get some quite cool conditions coming through, at times fairly dry, at times a little bit more unsettled, so a little bit on a par with what we had in September for October. There is a signal for quite a warm but wet spell around the middle part of the month. I'm not sure about the wet side of that, but it does look as though we could get a fairly warm period coming along at some point later next week, and then going up towards the middle part of October. And then I think for the second half of October, the hints are that we probably bring the jet stream southwards, turn things a little bit more unsettled and rather cooler into the second half of October. But it all remains to be seen, really. These long-range models are unreliable at the best of times. They're prone to chopping and changing. So let's just wait and see where things go in the next week or two. Right, so that's your month ahead look ahead done and dusted. Come back later on this afternoon when we'll have a detailed look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.